Bonsoir à tous. It's so lovely to be with you tonight again on this Wednesday evening at 7:15 p.m. Paris time as usual. This is our, I think, 21st reading of La Belle au Bois dormant, the 21st part. And I have to tell you that I read a little bit beyond because I wanted to prepare for tonight and tomorrow. And the story is amazing. I had no idea that the fairy tale could be so different from what I knew. So stick with me tomorrow and the coming days because it seems really cool and very different from what we knew from Disney. Also, before we start, a few students have emailed me asking me if I had any kind of Patreon or this kind of websites where you can give tips or something. I don't because it's not really my thing. I rather offer something and people can buy or not. So I was thinking, if you want to just contribute for all this French, so far you've had 10 hours of French lessons. That was very nice. I'm very, very happy to be doing this for free, but I've heard people wanting to do something. So let me know, what would you like to do? I was thinking like maybe I can do a reading all in French, like one in articulate French where you can read the text and have me read it in French, and then have one where I do it like if I were reading the fairy tale to you at home. So I could do that. If you want to contribute, we could have that in exchange. Or thinking like pay as you can, because obviously that's the whole thing. And so let me know in the chat, in the comments, what do you think about that, if you would be interested. If you're not, that's absolutely fine. I will keep doing that for free because that's what I'm planning on doing. But if you would be interested in purchasing something out of that, let me know, what would you love to have. I can make something happen for sure. So today, what happened? What happened yesterday? We saw that the princess woke up, she fell in love with the prince fell in love with her, it's wonderful. And all the people working in the castle woke up as well, and they're hungry because, they haven't eaten anything in 100 years. And someone very, very funny in the chat said that it was a special diet, the 100 years diet, where you don't eat anything for 100 years. And I think that was really fun. And also we saw that the prince notices that the princess is dressed like his grandmother, so he's a bit intrigued. So let's see what happens next today. Let's aim for that first, and if we go faster, we can move a little bit beyond. So are you ready? Let's breathe in. Let's breathe out. And let's read together. Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroirs et y soupèrent, servis par les officiers de la princesse. Les violons et les hautbois jouèrent de vieilles pièces, mais excellentes, quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans qu'on ne les jouât plus, et après souper, sans perdre de temps, le grand aumônier les maria dans la chapelle. Oh, wow, that was quick. Et la dame d'honneur leur tira le rideau. That was really quick as well. Ils dormirent peu. La princesse n'en avait pas grand besoin. Well, yeah, obviously. Et le prince la quitta dès le matin pour retourner à la ville où son père devait être en peine de lui. Wow! They moved really fast after 100 years of sleeping. So let's look at the first sentence. I hope you have your pen and paper. I have here my notebook. We were discussing in the chat notebooks before. Mine is a Clairefontaine, and the paper is really soft, and it's made of lines only. And this is not very, very common in France, lines only, but this is what I love because I can see my notes very well. So I hope you have your pen and paper, and we are ready to start learning. So I'm going to read that again. You can read this with me, by the way. Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroirs et y soupèrent, servis par les officiers de la princesse. Here we have une liaison, dans un salon de miroirs et y souper servi par les officiers. Here we have another one, de la princesse. Wonderful. So, ils passèrent is the verb. Passer at, you can guess that very easily. Le passé simple, again, le passé simple that we saw before. So, it is the verb passer, to pass. So, they're going through. Okay, they didn't stop. No, they entered. Ils passèrent dans un salon. So here it is, they went into. Okay, it is not the meaning of to go through. They actually entered, went through, and stayed in it. Okay, passer is to move to something else. Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroir. Here it means that le salon, which is usually the living room in a modern apartment. I'm going to put this here. The living room, but it is also a literary salon. I have one, le salon de Géraldine that I mentioned before, where we discuss lots of topics, but here it is a room. So in modern French, it is a living room, but here it is not the living room. It is another room of the castle. Le salon de miroir. Here it means that it is surrounded by mirrors. Okay, you have mirrors everywhere, just as in Versailles, for example. Okay, if you've been to Versailles before, the castle, there are lots of mirrors in one of the big rooms. Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroir, and in Versailles, it's la Galerie des Glaces. I didn't want you to miss it. À Versailles, la Galerie des Glaces. So here, glass, it is the mirrors. So check it out if you've never been or if you love to go back. It is very nice. Un salon de miroir. Et y soupèrent. Ils y soupèrent. So they souper there. He is there in le salon de miroir. Okay? Souper, it is to have supper. And here I don't want to put I don't want to put all the non-Parisian French against me, but depending on where you live in the Francophone country, it can be Switzerland, Belgium, France, several countries of Africa, it can be maybe Quebec, the word souper will be used or not, okay, depending on where you are. And souper, for me, okay, so that's for me, it is dîner, okay, so this is not the case everywhere. Okay, so don't tell your friends that I told you that and this is the truth. No, it is this kind of words that depend on whom you're talking about. So I don't do souper, I don't use this word, but I use dîner, but I perfectly understand souper as what I assume it is. But it can be different depending on where you are in a Francophone country. Don't forget that. All Frenchies are equal. Servi, served, par les officiers de la princesse, by the officers of the princess. Okay, so we can understand pretty straightforwardly what the sentence is about. They moved on to un salon, which is a room surrounded by mirrors, et y souper, and they dined there, they had dinner, servi, served by the officers working for the princess. Okay, so let's read the sentence once again together and don't forget la liaison. Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroir et y soupèrent servis par les officiers de la princesse. Okay. So they're in a castle, so we can assume that they're going to have some company. So this is a massive sentence. This is just one sentence. So let's get here. Ready? Okay, so we're going to read this together. And 1, 2, and 3. Les violons et les hautbois jouèrent de vieilles pièces, mais excellentes, quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans qu'on ne les joua plus. So we have several liaisons. Les violons et les hautbois jouèrent de vieilles pièces, mais excellentes, let's put one here, mais excellentes, quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans always une liaison with s'entend, qu'on ne les joua plus. Les violons, it is the violins. This is pretty easy to guess, so I'm not going to write it down. Les hautbois, this is a little bit more difficult. Un hautbois is, I don't even know how to say it. Is it oboe? So that's my assumption, but I think you can guess it by yourself because you know English better than I do. Un hautbois jouèrent de vieilles pièces. They played old songs. Okay? Here, une pièce is un morceau de musique. Is un morceau de musique. So it is, what did I write for you? It is a piece of music. Okay. Yeah, a piece of music. So we now I would more say un morceau de musique rather than une pièce. Okay. And jouer. I wanted to stop on this. Jouer. We say jouer d'un instrument. D'un instrument. Okay. We don't say, as you say, play the guitar, play the cello. Okay, let's say cello. Okay, we say de. Okay. So, for example, play the instrument. So, obviously, you can see that here I put de and here I put the, which are not equivalent, but I wanted to show you the structure. So you don't say jouer le violon. No, we say jouer du violon. For example, Arthur joue du violon depuis 20 ans. That's my brother, he plays the violin. Arthur joue du violon depuis 20 ans. Arthur has played the violin for 20 years. And if you want to use, this is un violon. Okay, so it is masculine. So that's why we have du. And then if you want to say la guitare, we can say Céline joue de la guitare dans un groupe de rock. La, on va mettre le ici, ce sera plus simple. Le violon. La guitare. Okay, so here you can see de le becomes du and de la stays with da. Okay. The apostrophe. No, that's good. So you see here, this is important. If you're playing an instrument or you know people who do, you can talk about it this way. So do not say joue le violon. We say du violon. Okay. De vieilles pièces. So the violins and the oboes played old songs, mais excellent, but excellent. Quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans qu'on ne les joua plus. Although it was more than 100 years that we had not played them. Okay. Plus, remember, is not anymore. Okay. Here it's a complicated structure with du subjonctif imparfait, don't freak out about that. What matters here is to understand the whole meaning of it. So I'd rather you remember that we say jouer d'un instrument than try to just hurt your brain with trying to remember the subjonctif imparfait because no one ever uses it. Okay? The 100 ans always have une liaison, so that's something that you can remember. Are you ready? So we're going to read the sentence again together. 1, 2, and 3. Les violons et les hautbois jouèrent de vieilles pièces mais excellentes, quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans qu'on ne les joua plus. Okay, so something is kind of wrong here because everything is outdated and he doesn't understand. Et après souper, and after supper, sans perdre de temps, le grand aumônier les maria dans la chapelle du château et la dame d'honneur leur tira le rideau. Et après souper, and after supper. Here he could have said, et après le souper, or not, both are okay. Et après souper, sans perdre de temps, without losing any time, le grand aumônier les maria. Un aumônier is a chaplain. So he was asleep as well. Le grand aumônier les maria, il les mariait quelqu'un is to marry them. Le grand aumônier les maria dans la chapelle du château. In the castle chapel. And by the way, it's a very common faux ami. Le mariage in French is the wedding ceremony. The wedding day. Okay, le mariage. It is not what happens afterwards. Okay, so it is not the marriage. Okay. It is not that. It does not translate into that. So if you say un mariage réussi, you talk 99.9% of the time of a great wedding day. Okay, wedding day or ceremony. Okay, we really talk about the event of the marriage. We don't talk about the marriage in this way. How would you translate marriage? Because I never thought about that. But I know it's a common mistake. Yeah, mariage. No, we would say couple. Yeah, you see, it's more the wedding. Yeah, there's no real good translation. They talk about matrimony, they talk about la vie maritale, and we would talk about un couple, unless it breaks, or it's about lasting. Le mariage a duré 50 ans. Yeah, it works, but we would not talk in exactly the same way. For example, 7 keys to a successful marriage. For us, it wouldn't sound the same because it would be really the wedding ceremony. So we could say, we would rather talk about a couple, un couple. That is more the word that we would use. And by the way, the dynamics of couples in the French culture are very different from the one in the US, or I would say mostly the US. I know the UK a little bit, but I would say it can be closer to the UK, but it's very, very different from the American culture. And this is very surprising for foreigners. There's one anecdote that I wanted to share that is it's always mentioned in books because it's always surprising for Americans, is that when a couple are with friends, they become individuals in a group. They are not a unity anymore. And this often surprises people. So when you're with a group of friends, you really become an individual, and this means that you are allowed to disagree with your partner as well. So for example, when you're in a group or dinner or whatever, it's okay for the couple to disagree with each other. I'm not saying shout and do something really weird, but it's okay for a husband to not support a wife and a wife not support a husband or partners or fiancé or whatever. Because we become individuals again. And it's not a disgrace or anything to disagree with your partner in a group. So that's surprising very often for people, either visiting couples or French couples abroad. And so the dynamics and how the couple is perceived is very different. And that's pretty funny. Well, I could talk about couples dynamic for years, especially in differences. But that's something that is very, very important. When you're a couple and you enter a group, you become an individual in a group. And that means that you can express yourself in a way that is as an individual. Obviously, you're not going to cheat on your husband, wife, or fiancé. That's not the point. I'm saying more in your arguments and speech and and discussion. You can disagree, that's fine, and no one will think that you're going to break up afterwards. That is completely different. So that's it for the cultural aspect of couple. So what happens next? Et la dame d'honneur leur tira le rideau. So if you're a grown-up, you can assume what is going to happen. La dame d'honneur is again la dame de compagnie that we saw before. It can be la demoiselle d'honneur, so it can be la demoiselle d'honneur as in the kind of the witness, but she's not the witness, she's accompanying the bride. But I think here she's more of someone who was chosen to be in the company of the princess to accompany her with everything. Leur tira le rideau, she drew the curtain. So I will let you think about what happens next, because I'm not going to mention it because there might be children. So il dormit peu. Okay. So let's read the sentence again. We still have time to finish. That's cool. 1, 2, and 3. Et après souper, sans perdre de temps, le grand aumônier, here, le grand aumônier, les maria dans la chapelle du château et la dame d'honneur leur tira le rideau. Okay. So let's move on to the last part of this long sentence. Let's read together. 1, 2, and 3. Ils dormirent peu. La princesse n'en avait pas grand besoin, for sure. Et le prince la quitta dès le matin pour retourner à la ville où son père devait être en peine de lui. So, what happens next? Checking my notes because I don't want to miss anything. Okay. So, ils dormirent peu, they slept very little. Peu is a little. However, in modern French, we would say pas beaucoup. Okay. Instead of j'ai peu dormi, which is fine. I mean, it's okay. That's not too old-fashioned French. We would say j'ai pas beaucoup dormi. J'ai pas beaucoup dormi. J'ai peu dormi. However, what you can see here is that there's a negation missing here. We should say je n'ai pas beaucoup dormi. But because it is spoken French that I'm showing you here, we remove the negation. So we would say j'ai pas beaucoup dormi. D'accord? And this is roughly the same. It is a little or not much. J'ai pas beaucoup dormi. La princesse n'en avait pas grand besoin. The princess did not have a big need of that. Un besoin is a need. Un besoin is a need. She didn't need to sleep. Well, for sure. Of course she didn't need to sleep. She slept for 100 years. N'en avait pas grand besoin. So grand here is a lot. Grand now is big. Okay. But old-fashioned French, it is a lot. Old French. Or it can be in expressions as well. Je n'en avais pas grand besoin. Because here it is a big need. Et le prince la quitta dès le matin. Oh. And he left her as soon as morning. Okay, dès le matin. As soon as it was morning, so in the morning, pour retourner à la ville, to go back to the city, and here we have une liaison, où son père devait être en peine de lui, where his dad must have been, en peine de lui. What's en peine de lui? La peine is sorrow. What would be best here? Not that. Sorrow, yeah. Grief, pain. Let's put sorrow. So here it is completely old-fashioned French. Être en peine de quelqu'un, I never heard of that. It is not something that you can use anymore. But we can imagine was in sorrow of him. So he was worried. He was missing him. Okay. All that. Ou son père devait être en peine de lui. Je mets in modern French, I would say, ou son père s'inquiétait pour lui. You could say that. Ou son père s'inquiétait pour lui, where his dad was worried about him. Ou on peut dire aussi où son père se demandait où il était. Where his dad was wondering where he was. But you lose the idea of sorrow. Okay, so here he's worried. So, où son père devait être en peine de lui. So let's read the sentence again and try to find liaison. Ils dormirent peu. La princesse n'en avait, here we have one, pas grand besoin, et le prince la quitta dès le matin pour retourner à la ville où son père devait être, here we have one, en peine de lui. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's read everything once again. Ready? Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroirs et y soupèrent, servis par les officiers de la princesse. Les violons ailés au bois jouèrent de vieilles pièces, mais excellentes, quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans qu'on ne les joua plus. Et après souper, sans perdre de temps, le grand aumônier les maria dans la chapelle du château et la dame d'honneur leur tira le rideau. Ouh. Ils dormirent peu, la princesse n'en avait pas grand besoin, et le prince la quitta dès le matin pour retourner à la ville où son père devait être en peine de lui. I want to do a little test here because I want to reread everything that we saw today and just read it as if I were reading that to you and you are French, okay? So you can test yourself and see how much you can follow, for example. Ils passèrent dans un salon de miroirs et y soupèrent, servis par les officiers de la princesse. Les violons et les hautbois jouèrent de vieilles pièces, mais excellentes, quoiqu'il y eût près de 100 ans qu'on ne les joua plus. Et après souper, sans perdre de temps, le grand aumônier les maria dans la chapelle du château, et la dame d'honneur leur tira le rideau. Ils dormirent peu, la princesse n'en avait pas grand besoin, et le prince la quitta dès le matin pour retourner à la ville où son père devait être en peine de lui. So you can notice here really the tone of the voice changes, the intention changes, the rhythm changes, and it will train your ear to actually be used to the French that is spoken. Here it is a fairy tale, so I do it a little bit more. But this way you can train your ear to actually listening the way that it would be told to you if you're a child or just listening to fairy tales. There are lots of people reading fairy tales at the moment. My mom sent me a podcast on France Inter saying that fairy tales are great at the moment, and she told me, you've been doing that for 20 years, that's good. For 20 days, that's good. So if this is something of interest to you, let me know. And maybe for those who want to contribute, you could have that in exchange, a reading of by me of this fairy tale in the way that I would say it. And this trains your ear to actually listen to French the way it is spoken, because it's a trap to just only rely on this over-articulate French, which is very good for learning, but is not the way that people are going to speak to you. Because if I'm learning English from CDs, for example, and I expect people to speak this way, I would have a massive shock if I tried listening to movies. So let me know what you think, and have a lovely day, have a lovely evening. Congratulations on today, you did really great. I hope you managed to take lots of notes, and as usual, you can revisit the lesson if you want. All the lessons are going to be there for free forever, so you don't have to worry about missing any, but it's wonderful to see you each night, because this is something we can look forward to in this very surprising and weird time. So thank you very much for being here. It's lovely to help you every day. I hope to see you tomorrow. So we meet at 7:15 p.m. Paris time. And that's it. À demain. Allez, salut.